Katahdin is calling from Georgia to Maine, more than 2,000 miles. My feet keep me sane with the good days and bad, the joyful and the sad. Adventure awaits without a care or blame.
Whoa. Trying to die right as I turn the camera on. Shit. Hey everybody. Gecko here, back with another video. This one is going to be for the Appalachian Trail 2026 playlist. I promised y'all a video explaining thru-hiker terminology. So we're going to do that today. So first of all, I wanted to give you a little update. I haven't even gotten on trail yet, and I've already gotten my first bit of trail magic. I mentioned it before in one of my previous videos. I was contacted by a fellow thru-hiker who offered to gift me a really lighter tent. Because the tent I have right now is the Close Nature 1.5, 1.5 person tent, but it's 4 pounds. So she bought 2 new tents for her thru hike. So she offered me her old tent. When I say old, it's lightly used. It's 2 years old. There's nothing wrong with it. So she offered it to me, and I said, sure, thank you, you know. And so she dropped it in the mail a couple of days ago, and it should be arriving tomorrow. So thank you very much for the tent. It is greatly appreciated, and it will help bring down my base weight. Because right now, I weighed my backpack a couple of days ago. It's 20 pounds. So I need to get it down. I'm hoping around 15, 16 pounds. I don't think I can get it any lower than that unless I get a new backpack. Which I still might do. I'm still going to go to REI and get some hiking clothes and check out a couple other things, but I'm going to take all of my gear with me and do a shakedown and see if I can't trade out the backpack. I mean, it's I think I paid like almost $180 for that backpack. And I know some of the Granite Gear backpacks are around $90. So since I've never used that backpack on the trail, it's just been sitting in my house storing my gear. I'm hoping that I can get that much in a trade-in, so I may not have to pay much of anything at all to get a smaller, lighter backpack. So I was looking on Ramdino's video he just posted. For those of you that want to know about trail conditions and hikers on the trail, he's the man to follow. Ramdino Hikes on YouTube.com. He has the best trail information of any individual that I've seen post about the Appalachian Trail. So I was watching his latest video, and the woman who gifted me this tent did her announcement video. So if you want to follow her as well as me, she is also on YouTube. I believe it's StaAware, StaAware. You can search that and probably find her. So show her a little support as well. Ooh, trying to burn myself. My cigarette went out. Wouldn't have burnt me too bad if the cigarette had gone out. Anyway. So, and right after he showed her little intro video, he showed the his Thru-hiker support list, and I was on there. Billy Mitchell, Gecko. He said I'd already started a trail, but obviously I haven't. I'm still in Texas. But I will be flying to Atlanta on February 28th. I'll be touching down about 11 o'clock. Ron's AT shuttle is picking me up at the Sandy Springs station at the REI parking lot. After I exit the MARTA train red line. And he'll be taking me to Amicalola Falls Visitor Center. Now, I did see that they've got some sort of event going on that ends on the 1st. So they were saying there's no tent city, that you have to reserve campsites or get hotel or lodge room bookings. So I need to call them and find out if that free tenting for AT thru-hikers behind the visitor center is still available. I went on their website and wrote a comment in their contact me section, asking them if it was still available, but it could take up to 4 business days to hear back from them. And I'll probably just go ahead and call them tomorrow, because today's Sunday and it's already after 5 o'clock there. So that's that little update. Sorry, I'm putting my cigarette out. I gotta make sure I don't start a forest fire. All right. So let me go ahead and turn y'all around and we'll get this thru-hiker terminology section started. All right, here we go. I'm using my handy dandy little tripod. It's working out really well. I haven't used it for any like walk away shots or anything in videos other than holding it and filming. But once I get my shakedown done, I'm gonna try to get on the Purgatory Creek Natural Area Trail with my pack and go out there and just do a mock run of a day hike or a day's hiking. It won't be all day, but I want to go out there, see how the pack feels on my back with all my gear. Of course, that's minus food. I'll take the water with me, but I may not have the food yet. And go out there, set up the tent, make sure it sets up well and everything like that, and just do a gear shakedown. Maybe cook me a little cup of coffee or something while I'm out there. I don't know. With the fire restrictions and everything, I might not be able to do that. But anyway, so let's get on to this terminology. I guess the biggest terms that you will hear are basically the trail designations. The AT, the Appalachian Trail, the PCT, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the CDT, the Continental Divide Trail. Those are the Triple Crown trails. That's the Triple Crown of North American hiking. It's not an official title, like you go down in the record books as being a through hiker, but in the trail community, it holds weight. Especially when you're trying to get jobs like at REI or Cabela's or another outfitter. That shows that you have experience with what they're selling and the type of activities that people buy those items for. So it's basically a legitimate resume addition for those types of jobs. So anyway, and there are other trails out there, but I'm not going to go into them. The next biggest terminology section would be the direction of travel on trail, and that would be NOBO, N-O-B-O, for northbound, SOBO, S-O-B-O, for southbound. And that's mainly for, you know, these three big trails. I mean, you can also use them for other trails as long as they're going north to south, south to north. Obviously, those terms wouldn't apply to an east-west trail. But since none of the Triple Crown trails are east to west, I'm gonna stick with NOBO and SOBO. Okay. Now the next terms are going to be for what you could expect on the Appalachian Trail. One would be white blaze, which is basically just the width of a paintbrush, like an 8-inch-ish. I mean, there's certain dimensions that these white blazes are. I don't know what they are for sure, but it's a white stripe painted on trees and whatnot to designate the official Appalachian Trail. And those are the blazes that you look for when you're traveling, you know, when you're hiking during the days. The next would be a blue blaze, which is the same thing, only blue. And that designates a side trail to like scenic views or waterfalls or a water source or privy on the trails. It's not the official trail, but it is basically like a utility trail. And that's my term, my term for it. It serves a purpose to the hikers on the trail. Like the Appalachian Approach Trail is a blue blaze trail, because it leads to the Appalachian Trail. Water source trails off of the Appalachian Trail are also blue blaze. And a lot of people associate the blue blaze with water, and I guess that helps. But you can also follow blue blazes to like waterfalls. I'm not sure if the blue blazes lead to privies or not, but that'll be something that I'll try to figure out once I get there and report back to y'all. I would imagine they would be, but I don't know for sure. Okay, the next term is yellow blaze, and you'll kind of see that if I film any of Ron's truck when he picks me up at REI. He has the words yellow blazing on the top of his front windshield on his truck. And yellow blazing is miles on a through hike that you take on a road, whether you're walking it, riding in a vehicle, or motorcycle or whatever, you know. It's miles you hike on a road. It doesn't count towards your official through hike. And if you skip sections by taking the road, those sections that you skip don't count towards your through hike. So you would have to go back on trail and do those miles for it to count towards your official through hike. Another one would be aqua blazing, which is different from blue blazing. Aqua blazing is anytime you take a boat or a tube or a raft down a river to skip a section of trail. Some people, there's a certain point on the Appalachian Trail, some people opt to aqua blaze that section because it's a really nice boat ride, canoe ride, raft ride, whatever, however they're getting down the river. They like to do it. It's just another experience that they can have on trail. And some people plan for that. Another term would be paint blazing. That is when you tailor your hike to coincide with that of a romantic interest. Another term would be silk blazing. That's not an official term, but a lot of people have been using it since I first heard it. And that's when a person gets on trail early in the morning before anybody else and starts hiking down the trail and catches all the spider webs in the face. You know, spider silk blazing. So there is that. Let's see, what other terms am I not getting? I had a list wrote down, but I figured I'd wing it. And those are the major terms. But there are, there's one more with the direction terminology, and that's flip-flop. Flip-flop is when, for example, you start at Springer Mountain and hike up to, say, Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, which is the I think they call it like the emotional or mental halfway point of the Appalachian Trail. The actual halfway point is somewhere on trail, I believe past Harper's Ferry, but it's right around Harper's Ferry. And there's my shadow. Wave to my shadow. And then from Harper's Ferry, you would get a ride or fly up or take a bus or train up to Mount Katahdin and then hike south back to Harper's Ferry. So you're completing a through full hike. It's just you're doing it in two legs. One going north to the halfway point and one going south back to the halfway point. Or it could be, you know, any section that's like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be Harper's Ferry. It could be anywhere. And it could be, you know, like there were some hikers that are on trail right now that are up in the Smoky Mountains, and they've had some really bad weather there lately, as you probably heard from watching the Weather Channel or whatever. The Appalachian Mountains around that area have been getting a ton of snow and ice. So they had to bail out of the Smoky Mountains and go further north and do a little hiking until the weather cleared. And then now they're going back. That's not necessarily flip-flops, that's skipping sections and going back and doing the sections at a later date. So that's kind of what the flip-flop is. It's not a straight no-bow or so-bow hike. You're doing it in both directions at different parts of the trail. You know, I'm gonna go over there. I haven't been over there yet. Let's see. It's not really terminology, but another aspect of hiking the Appalachian Trail is staying in shelters. Shelters are three-sided lean-tos. Some have just a floor to sleep on. Some of them have like an upper loft area. Some of them are 2 stories. There's not one set layout for these shelters, but you can sleep in these shelters if you don't mind sleeping with mice, because there are mice in the shelters, and even around the shelters there are mice, you know, because people eat there. There's food, so they're coming for the food, not the hikers. But you have to be careful around these shelters, because if you have food smells from inside your pack, they will chew holes in your pack to get to the food. They will chew holes through your tent to get to the food smells. So you have to be really careful and not store the food or food wrappers in your backpack. You know, put them in your food bag and put them in the bear canisters, or the bear boxes, or hang your food bag with the bear rope hanging systems that they have there, or if you have your own, which most thru hikers probably do have a bear hanging setup that they use. You know, the 550 paracord with carabiners to clip your food bag on, and you just throw it over a tree limb, hang your bag up and tie it off. But anyway, so at these shelters you have privies, which are exactly what they sound like. They're outhouses, basically, where you can do your business. You don't have to always dig a hole, a cat hole they call them, with your poop trowel, which is a little spade that you use to dig your hole and poop in the hole. You can use the privy, which is the perfect morning routine or nightly routine, depending on your bodily schedule. And it's the only long distance trail in North America that I know of that utilizes shelters. And you can find shelters all the way up from Katahdin to Maine, or Springer to Katahdin. Now, some of the shelters, especially in the White Mountains, do cost money to stay in, so be mindful of that. But you can find like primitive campsites you can use, or stealth camp, as another terminology is coined. And that's basically anywhere on trail that's not an official designated campsite that you stop and pop your tent up at. I mean, yeah, it's stealthy, I guess, you know, because you try to get off the trail a little bit, and you're not necessarily trying not to be seen, but they call it stealth camping anyway. I don't know, in some sections you're not supposed to camp in anywhere other than designated camping spots, especially in like the Smoky Mountains, and also Grayson Highlands. in Virginia. So let's see, what other terms have I not covered yet? Another term is resupply, and that's when you go into a town or stop at a place on the trail to stock up on your food or replace gear that have failed or are broken. And you do that probably, I would say, once a week-ish, on average. Usually every like 3 to 5 days. That way you're not carrying a lot of food weight while you're hiking. And this is just on the Appalachian Trail. On some of the other trails, there are much longer food carries. The only really long food carry on the Appalachian Trail is once you get up to Maine, and that's in the 100-mile wilderness. And that is about a 10-day stretch that you have to pack food for. Unless when you get to Monson, Maine, you pay for a food drop-off. There is a forest road about halfway through the 100-mile wilderness, and they will drop off a food bag or a box for you, so you can have a resupply in the middle of the 100-mile wilderness, but you have to pay somebody to do that. Even if you have your own box shipped to Monson, you still have to pay them to drive out the forest road and drop it off for you. I probably won't be doing that. And a lot of people going on the Appalachian Trail will mail them boxes or have boxes of like pre-packed food and resupply themselves at various points along the trail. They'll have somebody back home periodically mail these boxes to post offices on the trail, and then they'll hold them for so many days, and then you pick it up when you get there. Let's see, we've kind of covered water sources. What else? Oh, a really important term, tramley. That is a group of people that you meet on trail, and it can include people that have come on the trail with you, that decide to hang around each other and hike with each other and basically become a trail family, hence the name Tramley. Not everybody wants to have a trail family on trail. They want to be alone. Oh, the crane. I don't know if y'all saw that. Oh, here's a shell. Somebody's stairs going up the bank. There is a house up there. Somebody's ranch. I wonder if this is for animals or if people have done this. The size of the indentions would say animals. It's probably the watering hole for the packs of coyotes that are out here. Anyway, if that's the case, I probably shouldn't hang around. Anyway, let's see, I did the directions. I did the blazes. I did Tramley. I kind of mentioned bailing when I was talking about the people in the Smoky Mountains. That's what it's called when you have to get off trail unexpectedly. And you have to bail off the trail. Pretty much any side trail that goes to a road or a road crossing can be a bailout point. And you always want to keep an eye on bailout points when the weather starts getting bad, or storms start rolling, or threatening. You like, okay, look at your map, see if it gets really bad up here, where can I bail out at? You always want to have a plan for bailing out, just to be safe. Now, another term that you need to know about is SOS device. And that is usually a Garmin InReach, a Garmin InReach Mini, a Spot device. And that is a piece of electronics that's connected to satellites that allow you to send emails, text messages, and have the function where you can push and hold a button and it will contact search and rescue and give them your GPS grid coordinates so they can come find you if you need help. It's not mandatory that you have one, but it is highly recommended. I know the Appalachian Trail is a heavily populated trail, but if something happens and you fall down a cliff and you're still alive and conscious but not visible from the trail, and there's a big storm going on and nobody's going to hear you over the wind and rain, thunder, whatever, you need to have that SOS device so people can find you. Let's see, what else? I think I've covered a lot of it. I mean, there's some terminology that I'll kind of mention, but I'm not going to go into depth with because I don't necessarily know all the terminology for it, but it's for professional trail runners and professional through hikers, and that's fastest known time, FKT. And that's for people who are wanting to set a world record for the fastest time hiked the entire trail. And that it's an actual thing, and it's very competitive. There have been people that have done the entire Appalachian Trail in like 34 days. That's 2,198 miles in 34 days on foot, no less. Now, there's two types of fastest known time, and that is unsupported, which means the hiker or athlete is carrying all their gear with them, or supported, which means people are traveling by vehicle to road crossings and trail crossings with food and water to support them so they don't have to carry as much gear and they can be lighter on their feet. And I believe there's a couple other terms that go with that subset of terminology, but I don't know them. Another term you'll hear is hiker midnight. And that's basically when the sun goes down. Because, you know, you've been hiking all day, your body is exhausted, you're tired. You're not going to stay up till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Now, hiker midnight is 8 o'clock, roughly. So, yeah, people hiking usually turn in fairly early, like me. I'm a night shifter. I stay up I don't go to bed until like 2:30, 3:30, 6:30 in the morning. And that's just how my body works. I'm naturally awake at night. And I've been a night shifter for 20, 30 years. So it's my norm. You know, me being up during the day, especially these last 8 months at YMCA of the Rockies, was like being on another planet. Look at that sunset. Oh my God. I gotta get a picture of this. That's nice. So oh, what term was I on? Oh, hiker midnight. Yeah. Also, that would kind of go into the other term, night hiking, which is anytime you're hiking after the sun goes down and you're hiking with a headlamp. And there are some people like Nightcrawler and Early Riser who would start their hikes at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, get some miles in before sunrise because they want to make it to a decent, you know, viewpoint to get pictures of a really pretty sunrise and or just see it and experience it. And also, there's another thing. There's challenges you can do on these trails. For example, there's the 24-hour challenge. How many miles can you hike in a 24-hour period? And it's not like an official thing you have to do, but some people like to, and it's fun. You know, it's something to change up the routine of your hiking day. Once you get up closer, you know, to the northern border of Pennsylvania, you can opt to do the 4-state challenge, which is basically setting foot in 4 different states in one day's hike. Like, you know, West Virginia, Delaware, whatever hikes are in that, you know, New Jersey, New York, I think are the 4. Don't quote me on that. I may try to do that and maybe even coincide it with a 24-hour challenge and do them both at the same time. I know there's an ice cream stand at one point on trail, like literally on the trail. It goes through a town. And there's the 1-gallon ice cream challenge that you can try. And basically you have to eat a half-gallon, or it's the half-gallon challenge, sorry. A half-gallon of ice cream, or maybe it was a gallon. I don't know. I think it was the half-gallon challenge. It's a half-gallon of ice cream with a pint, because what they sell it in isn't actually a half-gallon. They have to supplement it with that little pint to make it a half-gallon. So you have to eat both of them in one sitting. And people that do that, you know, time themselves and see who can do it the quickest. And then if you complete it, you get like a wooden ice cream spoon with their name and everything on it as a memento of your challenge completion. Let's see. I'm gonna walk this way again. But I'm gonna be walking into the sun, so I'm gonna turn y'all around. There's coming a little stand of old oak trees here. But it looks like there's some like trash out here from, I don't know if there was a house out here or if this is from flash floods that come through here. It probably flash flooding, I would imagine. Look at all that dead wood right there. That's driftwood swept up from the flash floods. And we have had some doozies out here. Oh wow. There's a big section of the river right there that has water in it. But there's all kinds of stuff back here, trash-wise. Beer cans. People come back out here and party and stuff. Because it's kind of tucked away back here. And you can see the apartment complex way through the trees back there. But you can see, I mean, there's driftwood up in the tree. That's how high the river got. And you can see, I mean, driftwood up there from the water levels of the tree, of the flash flood, and the river is way down there. You can see where all the hogs have been rooting around, the wild pigs rooting through all this mess. Let's go ahead and walk down here. I don't want to take too much longer out here because it's fixing to get dark. You never know what you're going to find, because the Blanco River here actually comes from upriver. It comes from Wimberley, Texas, and a couple years back, well, more than a couple years now, more like 10 years, they had a Memorial Day flood, and it actually took the bridge out. Well, not out, but it damaged it severely. They had to replace it. But it washed houses away, and in some instances there were people in those houses that they never found. So I always cringe when I'm walking down here that I find something I really don't want to find. And that might be where a lot of this trash has come from, is those people's houses. Yeah, I don't think so, but you never know. I mean, Wimberley, a good 20 miles upriver, and this used to be a road. I mean, they have a cement section here where the road used to go over a stream outlet. So this used to be an actual serviceable road at one point. Or it could have been somebody's pasture road. Or whoever owns this land before it got sold to the developers or whatnot. There are pillows. That is probably from the flash flood. But I don't know for sure. There's a couple of buckets over there. Let's go check them out. Somebody's fishing spot, I would imagine. I don't want to run into any water moccasins down here. Yeah, somebody's fishing spot. Sit down right there and Bloop. Anyway, oh, yeah. I smell dead fish parts. That or I'm just smelling the water. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna start heading back. So that's pretty much gonna do it for the terminology. I think I've covered pretty much everything that I know of as far as thru-hiker terminology. So that'll help you a little bit while you're watching my thru hike or other people's thru hikes. You'll have a better understanding of what we're talking about, you know, because, you know, we don't want to, you know, stop in every video and go, yeah, I'm going north, I'm going Nobo. Oh, that's northbound. You know, you already know what Nobo is. Or I'm having to bail out. Of course, that's self-explanatory. Or hitch into town. That's another one I didn't mention, but that's exactly what it sounds like. Hitchhiking into a town. And that's kind of expected on long distance trails around trail towns, and the people expect it, and they help out the hikers whenever they can. And again, it's always courteous to offer some sort of financial compensation for their service, even though 99% of them will say, no man, don't worry about it, I'm just happy to help out, or whatever, you know. So another thing I didn't really touch on is hiker hostels. And I know in northern Georgia there are a lot of them, but there you can find hostels in most of the trail towns on trail. A lot of other places that offer sanctuary to thru hikers is churches and community centers of these little towns. And that's one thing you can watch out for on the Far Out app, which is basically the go-to place to get your hiker maps. And it also has comment functionality where people on the trail before you can leave comments about, oh, this water source was dry, or the water source was plentiful, or there's a creepy guy at this shelter, you know, beware, you know. Basically trail notes for, you know, hikers coming in after you to be aware of. And that is gold to thru hikers. So kudos to Far Out app people. It used to be called Gut Hook's Guide, or the Gut Hook app. Another resource Appalachian Trail thru hikers might employ is AWOL's Guide, which has a topographical map of the entire trail, going page by page by page, and you hike off one page to the new page, and you do that through the whole book. And it'll have elevation, shelters, water sources, roads, towns, whatever. And off to the side, it'll show you, you know, the information for the hostels in the area, or stores you can go to get your resupply, or a little, and some of them will even have the little city maps for each city that's along the trail, so you can navigate on your resupply off trail. And a lot of people use that solely. They don't use the Far Out app, but you know, 9 times out of 10, or I'd even say 99 times out of 100, people are going to have the Far Out app. And some people, like me, I'm going to get the Gut Hooks, or the AWOL Guide, and have it with me as well, so I'm not draining my battery life every so often looking at my map. As long as I can see the white blazes and know I'm on the Appalachian Trail, and the sun is basically, depending on the time of day, on the correct side of the trail, I'm just going to use the AWOL guide and kind of be cognizant of where I'm at on trail, what's coming up, what I've passed, so I can see that on the paper map. And, you know, that's where some of my military training is going to come in handy. Land navigation, or as the civilian population calls it, orienteering, will come in handy. And I do have a compass. Oh, well, actually I have two compasses. I've got a bracelet of paracord that has a compass built into it. But, you know, I also have my iPhone, which has a compass app on it that doesn't require cell signal. It uses the satellites. So I can use that as a compass as well, as long as I have power. And, you know, I've got my 26,000 milliamp power bank along with, I think, a 14,000 milliamp little bank, or maybe an 8,000 milliamp. I don't know exactly how big it is, but it's a supplemental power bank in case I need it. So I think there was another trail I was supposed to be on. I should have already been up there. What was that? Something was just crawling through the woods. I don't see anything big, so it was probably a rabbit or a rat. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go down here to these rocks and cut back the other way. Not the direction I was wanting to go, but it's the direction that chose me. Anyway, I think I'm trying to make this video last until I get up to the road. I really don't know what else to tell y'all. I know one of the people that commented on one of my videos actually remembered me from the YMCA of the Rockies, although I'm sorry, I don't fully remember who the person was. Crud. Yeah, this was not the way I came. I really don't like getting in this tall grass because you never know what's in it. And with it getting dark, and the coyotes are going to be waking up and being more active. Especially here at the water source. It shouldn't be much further until I get to the rocks, so I can cut back. All right, I see the road I'm supposed to be on. Maybe I did go that way. You know what? I did go that way. It just looked different coming back. Which brings up another little thing. If you do through hike the Appalachian Trail going northbound, and parts of you wants to do it again at a later date, go southbound. It'll look different going south than it did north. And it'll be almost like hiking a completely different trail. You know what? I didn't take that road. There's another road that goes off that way at the top of this rise. And yes, this is... Hello? Oh. I am going up. Oh, that's a steeper... That's not the one I usually go. Well, maybe it is. It is. Never mind. Steeper than I remember. Anyway, that guy walking his dogs startled me. I heard voices. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, go ahead and hike the same trail the opposite direction, because it will be a completely different trail. And I've heard people that have hiked Nobo on the Appalachian Trail multiple times that say every through hike of the trail is different. I mean, because the weather's not always the same as the last time you were there. Maybe you were in an area that had no views the first time, but the second time you're there, you get to see these amazing, beautiful views of the mountains that you didn't get to see last time. So it's completely different. And that can be said for any trail, really. And of course, you know, geography changes over time, especially like when after Hurricane Helene hit the trail, it changed the geography of the trail quite a bit. You know, blowing down trees, erosion, you know, taking bridges out. I'm hoping we don't have any kind of weather like that while I'm on trail. But I'll deal with it if it happens. All right, let me go ahead and turn y'all back around. All right. I think this will be the last time that I do an outro for a video on this playlist. Because, you know, it's the same playlist from the time I get on trail to the time I get off trail. You're basically going to be watching it as one like segmented movie, I guess. So if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, swipe that notification bell to be notified anytime I upload a new video to Gecko's Trails. And go ahead and share this video with any of your family or friends that likes through hiking, likes watching through hike adventures, or wants to know more about seasonal work. And that's the other playlist I have. Actually, I have two playlists. seasonal work 2021 and seasonal work 2025, which was my current assignment that I just finished. So, that having been said, y'all stay safe, y'all stay sane, and get out and hike a trail. Whether it's your own neighborhood or a green space in your town or in a state or national park. Get out and get some fresh air, some sunshine. You'll be glad you did. Till next time, bye.